This is ScreenView with Peter Van, Amy Morgan, and John Denny. Fan us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at ScreenView Show, and join in on the conversation on Google+.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to ScreenView, episode 32, August 14th, 2012. I am Peter Van, and with me I have John Denny and Amy Morgan, as always.
Hello. I was just going to say, it's not August 14th. The magic of podcasting.
Yes, a day early and a day I don't even know.
A day early and $1 short. Woo-hoo!
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
I was very confused for a second. I was like, what day is it?
It's the 13th.
Yeah, we're recording this a little early because it will be Amy's birthday, so we're giving her the day off.
Yay! Thanks, guys.
Paid time off.
Yeah, paid time
Paid time off. Awesome.
So, Box office report.
Talk about that the Dark Knight finally lost its top spot. The Bourne Legacy, which is kind of low. It's only made like $38 million.
Yeah.
So.
What's funny, they were saying it was like, oh, it's pretty good, and I was like, that's a little underwhelming. Only, I mean, $40 million is nothing to sneeze at, but it's still only $40 million for a movie that already got 3 movies in front of it.
Yeah, they kind of blamed it on the Olympics because everybody likes.
Most people wanted to stay home and watch the Olympics.
Everybody wanted to stay home and watch the tape delay shows.
Yeah, but great. I mean, I don't buy that because, I mean, we'll probably get into this in a little bit, but I mean, by the end of the Olympics, I don't think that they have the same draw that they have at the beginning of the Olympics.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I don't buy that.
Who knows? I mean, it got pretty good reviews. I mean, it did pretty well in terms of view-wise. So. And
the other thing is that people are very confused about whether or not it's a reboot.
Right, and it's not.
And it's not.
And they kind of. It just shows that people don't pay attention because.
I was gonna say that he's got like a ton of movies, right?
Well, they purposely say his name in the trailers or the commercials at least like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, and I mean, they obviously showed David Strathairn's character, in the trailer. So obviously, it's, unless it's a bad casting, then it's clearly in the same universe.
I forgot you were here. I forgot you were in the other movies.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's very confusing for someone who kind of pays attention to it on the periphery, where it's like, oh, they're redoing the Jason Bourne movies with Jeremy Renner. I can never remember his name. He's so overexposed right now, but I can never remember his name.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a lot of movies this summer, so absolutely. So number 2 was The Campaign, which made $26 million.
Isn't that with what's his bucket? I'm trying to think.
What's
Zach Galifianakis?
I'm sorry.
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell. That's him. Yeah. What's his bucket? Yeah.
It was good, I guess. Like parts of it were funny, and then parts of it felt really dragged out. Like it actually felt like a longer movie. And the movie.
Did you see it?
Maybe if they would have put it like around the time that we actually have voting and stuff, then maybe it would be a little bit more. Hey, let's go blow out some steam and watch The Campaign.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's very satirical in that regard, but it felt like certain.
I
parts
think that would actually work in the negative. It's like, oh my God,
really?
making movies about it.
Oh yeah, I absolutely wouldn't want to see it at all.
Yeah.
After I voted or after, I mean, it was a good time because. Now you have to wait another 3 months to vote or so.
Well, at this point, everyone's like, the way I feel is a lot of people are probably looking at the election in November and saying it's all a joke anyway. So at least then now it's like, it's exactly like that. You got an idiot and the guy who's only in it for the politics. No matter what your feelings are on the other one.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think it's good timing.
Yeah. So number 3 is The Dark Knight Rises. It made $18.9 million. It's a total of
Still
$389
road.
million so far domestically and $835 million worldwide.
A lot
I
of the
find
people that
that-
are on my Twitter, I keep on seeing tweets saying, "Oh, I've seen it for the 5th time. Oh, I've seen it for the 6th time." I'm going, yeah, people are just going back to see it.
Yeah.
Is that usually the case where it makes more worldwide than just in America?
I think especially with like the bigger films, yeah, like a lot of the superhero
Okay.
films, they do.
Because if I think it was a couple weeks ago when I saw that the Dark Knight had made like $325 million in the U.S. and like $370 million worldwide. I was like, wow, that seems to me it's saying backwards,
Right.
but I guess that's pretty normal. I mean,
Yeah,
there's more
it's pretty-
people. There's more people in the world than there are in the United States, obviously.
Yeah, especially for the bigger films, like the Avengers did the same.
Okay.
So. Number 4 was Hope Springs. Number
Yeah.
5, Total Recall. Number 6, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Number 3, Ice Age, Continental Drift, Ted. Wow, that's still up there. That's kind of impressive.
Yeah.
Step Up Revolution and The Watch.
The Watch.
Which-
Oh, is that the
The
Jake Gyllenhaal?
No. That's called End of Watch or something.
Oh.
This is the comedy with Ben Stiller and
Oh yeah. Okay.
I forget
I
the other
gotcha.
guy's name. Oh crap! What's his name?
Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, Vince
see,
Vaughn.
what's his bucket? There you go.
What?
You're saying bucket?
I certainly hope she's saying bucket.
Yeah, I said, what's his bucket? Yeah,
Okay.
there you
I
go.
certainly hope
It's
she's
it's
saying
the
bucket.
it's the standard. Oh, that dude that you know, but what's his name? What's his bucket?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure this is the
I-
first time John and I have ever heard of what's his bucket.
It certainly makes. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but I
does.
understand it. But at first, I thought you were saying what's his bucket, but then I thought you were saying something similar to that, but not exactly that.
Something that is not right.
It
I know
sounds
you have
really
kids in
odd.
your
Makes you
house,
go,
so,
what?
Just yeah, exactly. We'll just bleep it out a couple times.
Thanks.
So this weekend, we'll see some pretty big openings. Well, just one opening, I guess. The Expendables 2. will
Yay!
open, with 3,200 theaters. The Odd Life of Timothy Green, which is opening up in the middle of the week.
I'm excited for the
Paranorman.
Expendables too.
What's that?
I'm excited for the Expendables too.
Yeah. It should be pretty good. I mean, who doesn't want old action stars beating the crap out of each other?
Hey, Thor's in it. He's not old.
Hey, man,
Yeah,
that was
he's the-
Michael Bay with explosions, man. That's what they did for the first movie, right?
Yeah. He's the only one that's not under like 40.
Who?
Not under 40.
I mean, he's the only one that is under 40, right?
It's so hot in here.
Which one?
Chris Hemsworth is
Oh,
the
okay.
only kid in there.
Oh,
Everybody
wow.
else is, like-
Right. This is Mr. Thor, right?
Yeah. Everybody
Yeah.
else is at least 50, I think.
Yeah, he's going to
No,
be like the
He's
baby.
not 50, is he?
Jet Li
If they
is
have
50.
If they have any drinking parties, they're going to get him milk.
Right. I think
I
think
want to see outtakes that have that in there, man.
get him milk. Yeah, I think the female is not 50 yet. She's actually pretty young. But
Who's the
Jet
female?
Li
Oh.
is
There's a female in this?
49.
Oh, my God.
He's 49.
They
He's not
broke
50
the
yet.
world.
I told you it wasn't 50.
It's close enough. Close enough. Give me a break. And then, of course, the film that we were all waiting for all year, Sparkle.
Hey,
Oh,
man, it's Whitney Houston's last movie.
oh,
Yeah,
sad.
I don't know if we really. I don't know if it was on like.
What is Sparkle about?
It's about Jordan Sparks and making it, I think, or something. I'm not sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see that.
Tell us how it is.
it's oh, okay. Jordan Sparks playing Whitney Houston. What?
No, Whitney Houston was in the movie. It was her last
Oh,
film.
okay.
And
She's still in the movie.
She's
Yeah,
also
yeah,
even
yeah.
produced the movie too. Yes. Say
Hello.
hi.
Okay, so just going to something that everybody probably saw coming. Joss Whedon will be directing and writing Avengers 2.
Yay! All is right with the world.
Yeah, all is right.
Yeah.
Disney announced it during their earnings call last week, so all is right. And he will also be creating a Marvel-related television series for ABC.
I sort of wish that they
Ooh.
would.
Looking forward to that. If that's the reason why they stopped making Earth's Mightiest Heroes or whatever, it's like that makes me very
I'm not
sad.
sure.
I sort of wish they would not immediately let him be the main writer, because I don't know. He's got a certain style about the way he does things, and everyone who loves Joss Whedon, and they all expect things to happen in his stories. But he wasn't originally the main writer in the first Avengers, and he did rewrite the entire script. But there was a lot that I think was still reused from the original script. So I think that it helps him out more to not have a clean slate. More, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I don't think that he needs to be doing the writing by himself.
Yeah, I think he has probably, he probably has some ideas, and he did say that when the movie first came out that he had some ideas and he would.
This is a smartphone.
I mean, who was the guy that was the writer who originally wrote the script for the Avengers? I can't remember what his name is.
I have no idea.
But he would be on the credits. I mean, I think that they should still use a team of writers. I mean, I don't know how they're going to credit it, but I think that he shouldn't be the only one writing it.
Right.
It's a lot to handle. In the end. And a lot of pressure from me.
Well, I think did you say a lot of pressure from you?
Yeah. It has to be good.
It does. I mean, it's definitely set.
John must be pleased.
He definitely set a huge precedent for himself, right? For making a movie that was like so much better than other people expected it to be. So
I think he set a huge precedent by, well, not even that. I mean, we can spoil the Avengers now, right?
Yeah, it's been long enough. I think
so.
it's all right.
He can't not kill main characters.
Right.
But it was a sub character. It wasn't like the main character, but he's been in enough movies and has gotten enough fan love that when he
was in all of the movies.
Every single Marvel produced movie, every single Marvel Studios movie up until the Avengers, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was in like films. Except for he was in Captain America at the end.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just think that it's a big crutch that he has. I mean, of course, it helped to drive the story, and it certainly made sense in the context of the story, but he just can't.
Right.
He can't not do it.
In a Joss Whedon movie or a show, somebody might die.
The main character that everyone loves is going to die.
Yeah, or on the brink of death.
Okay, I see what you guys are saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was all right with it. I thought that it drove the story because after that point, if you're gonna kill somebody, make it make sense.
Yeah.
And it made sense for what they did, and so I was actually kind of fine with it, because I mean, not everybody should have to be able to come out all perfect.
I think they always make sense, but it doesn't mean that there's another way to handle it. You know what I mean?
Certainly there could be another way to handle it, but I think that for what he set up, the other thing that I thought was really great about the movie is the fact that he juggled so many characters and was able to make you care about all of them, which is anytime that you get screen time on more than one person, usually you're taking away from somebody else, but he just was able to work it in a way where you got a really good payoff with almost every single one of the characters. So it's like, oh, well, that's good, so... Even if the payoff, like with one of the guys, of course, was that he died, you're like, no! It's like, he's going to make it, right? And then he didn't make it, and you're like, dang, man, that's gold, but, what a payoff.
Yeah.
Right.
And like I said, it certainly drove the story to the point where it needed to go, but I think if they hadn't killed that character, it still would have been, they would have found a way to make the Avengers become the Avengers.
Yeah.
By the way, the guy that originally did the story for the Avengers was Zach Penn.
Zach Penn, that's his name, yeah.
Who wrote a lot of Marvel movies, including X-Men Last Stand, The Incredible Hulk.
Which one? There was two of them.
No,
the Incredible Hulk.
The second one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the
The other
first
one was
one,
just
the second one.
the other one
That
was
was
just
Hulk.
Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not just Hulk. It was Hulk.
It was Hulk.
That'd be awesome
Just-
though if they made a movie
just
called
Hulk.
Just Hulk. No one else.
The
That's
picture
the
is
third
the
one right
Hulk
there.
like this.
Yeah,
Third
like-
one will be just Hulk. It's like,
So
we can't call it Hulk. We can't call it the Incredible Hulk. We call it just Hulk.
You gotta
Nice.
worry about that.
For the reboot, it's just Hulk.
Yeah, just Hulk.
Yeah. The eventual
Uh,
reboot.
Here is one that John. I'll let John take.
Yeah, that's
I
all right.
don't-
Go for it, John.
They're making The Hobbit a trilogy.
I agree. This is not bad. This is not a good thing.
I'm reading it right now. I think I read it a long time ago, like when I was a kid, but I'm rereading it now. And I read The Lord of the Rings, and I really enjoyed it. And I might get crucified for this, but I'm not enjoying The Hobbit all that much.
You asked me once.
I think the characters are very goofy compared to the characterization in Lord of the Rings, and it don't make sense with the characterization from Lord of the Rings.
I may not have told you.
But beyond all that, I mean, that's my review of the book so far. But it's only a 300-page book. I mean, they had a hard enough time making a 300-page book into the one Hunger Games movie. So I don't understand how they're going to make it a trilogy. There are no stopping points where it's like, oh, everyone's satisfied with the story from here. We can just stop it, and you can come back in a year and see part 2.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
agree.
No, there's not enough. And if they're like, oh well, you know, okay, so it says here that we recognize the richness of the story in The Hobbit, as well as some of the related material in the appendices of the Lord of the Rings. Gave rise to simple questions. We tell more detail, and the answer from our perspective as filmmakers and fans was unreserved yes. Well, if they're going to cut it in half and end The Hobbit at the end of part 2, and then add stuff on for another movie, like where's the draw to see the other stuff? I don't care.
I agree.
And if you're a fan of the Lord of the Rings movies, you're like, well, why couldn't they just put that stuff in the Lord of the Rings where it belongs?
The only thing I can think of is that maybe the first half of the Hobbit, they're gonna tell a whole lot of backstory, where the rings came from and how it. And I'm thinking, you know what? That's just a bunch of info dump, and I don't know if I want to watch a movie that says that.
That's the other thing, is that it's not even part of the story.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly the reason why that you could be worried. Well, so what are they going to do with I don't see how they're going to make it into a trilogy.
He finds the ring.
There's not enough There's not enough book stuff in there.
Right. He finds the ring, and it's like, oh, I just put it on. It makes me invisible. Not, I put it on, and this big monster's coming to get me.
Yeah, I agree.
So I mean,
he has to wear it a couple times, and even then, it's like the ring chooses what the ring chooses its next wearer. It leaves Smeagol, Gollum, to go with, Bilbo. So it's like, okay, so it's not like he takes it, puts it on, and says, "Oh, yeah, exactly what you said." And even in the book, I think it's like even Gandalf isn't even sure what kind of ring it is.
Right. He doesn't even
know. He doesn't recognize the ring, which eventually he does because he suspects, but
Mm-hmm. But if they made it into one movie, it would be a movie with a lot of stuff in it, even stuff that they might have to cut out just to make the story go.
Like all the singing.
Well, besides that, I mean, there might be some certain sequences that they would like, okay, there's a lot here, we don't need to do this, we don't need to do that, we'll put it as, special editions on a DVD. And it's like, okay, well, if you want to expand it, make it 2 movies, okay, there's no real stopping point, but we'll figure something out and make do with it. But 3 movies is like, oh, we have to...
You know that these aren't going to be like, an hour and a half movies, because we know what he did with the first 3, right?
That's the other thing, is like, by the same logic, there should be 9 Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
We should still be watching
100
Lord of the
pages
Rings
per
movies.
movie.
Yeah.
It would
The
just
last
be like,
Lord of the Rings movie
really,
should be
really
coming
long
out this
movies.
year.
yeah.
These are going to be really, really long movies, and I think about, you're going to make 3 Hobbit movies? Are you just going to tell it from each different point of view, like one from Bilbo.
Yeah, one from each of the dwarves.
I know. It's like there's not that much content in The Hobbit for you to do that unless they're just going to make stuff up. So it's like,
Yeah, that's the
certainly
curious
they
thing.
go and they find Sting and they had the whole thing, and then they find the ring, and then they go to the human town. I could see them maybe expanding to just the two, but a third one, it's like, what are you going to do for another 3 hours after that? So that's why I'm like, guys, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, they're filling. They said that Peter Jackson is going to fill in the two films with information that the series author J.R.R. Tolkien wrote later and put in the appendix at the end of the third Lord of the Rings book, Return of the King.
Oh, jeez.
But it's so cool. Like, if I wanted to watch an encyclopedia, I would do that. I mean, that's what it's all backstory and like, it's nothing. There's no story.
If I haven't read I haven't really read the encyclopedia, so I really don't know. I guess I can read it now.
I don't really know. I mean, I read the books, and I don't remember there being anything reading worthy back there. So
yeah, I if anything, because like I read the book and then I listened to the audio. What is it? The BBC dramatization. And that is a couple discs long, but, that's because it was like a radio show, so.
Right.
But still, it's just kind of like, okay, guys, I just don't see how you're going to get all of that in there, but okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Just what you got to do with it. Got to do what you got to do, right?
One of the appendixes I found so far is the history of the languages. So there's some thrilling story there.
Yeah, let me tell you. Well, and I read the Silmarillion. I think out of everything that I've ever read from Tolkien, I liked the Silmarillion better than the whole thing, because it was a bunch of little stories, that led up to why the ring was important. Who was the one that, how the elves were involved, and it just had a bunch of little stories, little chunks of stuff, and I really enjoyed that because of that. So I mean, if they're going to do that, great. But if this is the stuff afterwards, I'm like, afterwards, if I remember right, they also had a whole story about what happened to Frodo, and like Sam got married to somebody and a few other things. So it was like, okay.
Yeah, who cares?
Go ahead.
I don't know.
John.
I was just saying, not to sidetrack us, but I couldn't get past the beginning of this Silmarillion only because it read to me like the Bible. Of like the lineage of all the elves and stuff.
Yeah, once you get past a certain part, then the whole rest of it is just a bunch of stories of how the ring was made, who betrayed them, and who got in trouble because they were a rebel, and who got kicked out because they followed him, and then a bunch of other little stories. Like after they kicked him out, then they went off and broke off into different sections and stuff. And those that got outcasted eventually were found a way to come back, because when Sauron came back, he played his game again. And I was like, you dopes, why did you bring him back? It's like, you didn't believe him the first time when he lied, and he comes back, please be, I'll be good, I'll promise. And he's great for a while, and then ultimately he ends up betraying them again, and they're like, ah! And then they get kicked out of heaven, and it's like, oh gosh, really, guys? You didn't believe him the first time? But then there's a whole bunch of other stories that happened that I like, oh, I kind of liked some of these, when they actually had the humans that were battling him and how he came back. And I was like, wow, okay, well, finally the elves learned their lesson, and the way for them to get back was to destroy him. And they said, okay, we will absolutely do it this time. And they almost did, but... I'm gonna ramble on for hours here, okay?
No, it just seems like they didn't really, they were like, we're gonna destroy him, and then they were like, oh well, we almost got it, guys. Let's go home.
Yeah. Well, they almost had it, but then because that time by then he had the ring, they trusted the humans to give the ring back, and then one of the guys said, "No, I'm not gonna give it back," and so they were like, oh, "Great, now we have a whole."
That was already in the beginning of the Lord of the Rings movie.
I know, but yeah. It happened. It happened a couple times. By the time I got to the end of Silmarillion, I thought, wow, that was a lot of history, man. These guys have only learned by the fact that over and over and over and over again, they've taken this Sauron's word, and he's turned around and stabbed in the back. So eventually they get to learn not to let this guy do this to him anymore. So I was like, yeah, it's a really hard lesson to learn. This is the reason why you got kicked out of wherever. This is why it takes them all the way to the end, where they finally, we go through Lord of the Rings, and at the very end, then they can go back, and it's like all of these guys have died since then because of that. And it took you that long to learn this lesson? Wow, guys, are really smart there.
Well, anyway, I mean, it's going back to the Hobbit. Like, I think that people who blindly love the Lord of the Rings movies and books will be like ecstatic about it. Like, I don't know what the buzz is.
Pretty high.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I expect. Everyone's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be 3 movies. It's gonna be chock full of awesome, blah 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 blah. And like, I'm reading. If they went back and reread it, maybe they would be like, oh wait, there's not a whole lot here.
Yeah,
like,
that's why
I'm do it now.
Yeah, it's just, as much as I love The Hobbit and I love all of the Lord of the Rings stuff, I thought they did great with the first the trilogy, obviously, but The Hobbit is a more contained story. And the fact, like, again, this is why I come back to the whole thing. I don't know an idea that it's going to be a trilogy. I just see, wow, this is going to be so drawn out. It's going to be painful. And then you'd be like, okay, well, I know a lot about the past now, but I'm really not enthralled with this as a movie.
Right.
It's just gonna. I worry that it's gonna make it so painful that it'll be, I'm sure that it'll get some sort of nomination for something, but I don't think it's gonna win anything because everybody's gonna be like, biting their teeth to get through it. Going, are we done yet? Are we done yet?
Yeah.
Popcorn's gone in 5 minutes. Where's the rest of the movie?
Whatever.
Well, we'll find out soon enough, right?
Well,
I'm sure that we will review it on this show and thoroughly, go, we were saying this 6 months ago. Ah.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, actually, we did make that joke, didn't we? That eventually it would become a trilogy at one point or another. Because why not?
We did.
It's a Peter Jackson movie. It's a Peter Jackson franchise. Why not? If you could make... If he could make King Kong into a 3-hour movie, he can make The Hobbit into a trilogy, you guys.
Possibly, but I just wonder how much stuff is going to be the world according to Jackson or the world according to Tolkien.
I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm saying he shouldn't do it.
Well, at least you should know that it's not motivated by money.
Oh, no.
Okay. We hope it's not motivated by money, right?
That's what he said. He's like, it's not motivated by money, so...
That's a lie. That's a lie, and he knows it.
Yeah.
They said to him, you can make us more money if you make 3 movies. And he said, I'll come up with a reason for why I can do it.
I'll find a way to make it into 3 movies.
I'll justify it.
There's something, yeah.
Oh, Lord of the Rings and the end of the books.
This is what I'm really worried about, is that they're going to take the whole first half of the first movie and tell all the backstory, all the relevant parts at least, and spend half the movie on that, and then the other half will be like a small portion of The Hobbit, and then the middle one will actually be the rest of the movie, and then the last one will be all the extras.
Maybe the last one, they'll skip, whatever years later down the line and show the guys go back to the Shire and fight all the orcs off.
Oh, yeah.
I hope not. I was expecting that. Well, literally, I was expecting that at the end of the Lord of the Rings movie, because that's a big part of the book, which they foreshadowed in the first movie.
Right. Yeah. It's the last big 50 pages or whatever of the book.
And I have them all on DVD, but I don't have the big special edition ones where it's 6 hours of movie. Apparently, those scenes are were deleted from the third movie.
Oh, so they've already been cut.
They're already been done.
They did delete quite a bit of stuff from the third movie. But see, this is where we're gonna say in 3 years they're gonna come out with the new the prequel release of the trilogy and say, here's all the real extras.
Now with it more it's super. It's with the super insanely major extend cut.
Somehow they still find
they'll find a way to get that into
Wars movies.
Yeah, long lost footage.
It'll be the Forgotten Tales
Yeah.
trilogy.
There you go.
The unfinished tale.
Oh, oh, too funny.
All right. Well, now that we know that we are all against Hobbit being a
And
trilogy.
you know what? I'm gonna see all the movies, and I'm
2 movies, but 3, I just don't see how they're gonna cut it with 3.
Right.
we're all gonna fall for it, and we're all gonna see the movies.
Yeah, we will. And then afterwards, we'll come on the ScreenView and rant about it, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Or
I'm
maybe
sitting here
like
saying,
actually
"I told you
they're-
so. I told you so. I told you so."
It sucked.
Don't see it in 3D. It wasn't
It was
worth it.
good, but it was only supposed to be 2 movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was the best ending I've ever heard. I've ever seen in my life, but it should have been 2 movies.
Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
I am definitely in a position to be proven wrong by Jackson. There you go.
go.
Prove us wrong,
Keep-
man.
keep
Prove us wrong.
Your just keep your your eyes open. Keep your minds open, and maybe he'll surprise you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have my mind so open that my brain's gonna fall out the back of my head.
Right. Okay. So speaking of brains falling, I don't. This is a terrible transition.
Yeah.
There is no transition. Thor 2 gets a villain called Malekith the Accursed,
You cursed. Wow.
and he is a supervillain in the
Has to
Marvel
have a
universe.
voice.
What?
That one's gonna have to have a voice. Malekith, you're cursed. Ah!
Yeah. What's his name? Christopher Eccleston will be the guy who will be the villain in Thor: The Dark World. He will be Malekith the Accursed is a supervillain in the Marvel Universe and the ruler of the Dark Elves of
Svartalheim.
Svartalheim. He clashes with Thor in the comics, and he even fights with Odin.
Ooh.
Never heard of him.
I have never heard of him either.
I
but
assumed that the bad guy would be a different person.
Yeah, it had to be, right? But that'll be out next year, so pretty good stuff.
No, I mean I already had a villain in mind that they were going to use.
Who was
Which
that?
villain is that?
Ronan
Put it out
the
there, John.
Accuser.
Who?
Ronan the Accuser.
Mm.
Well, this is close. Malekith the
Yeah.
Accursed.
But I never heard of this guy.
The
so.
second name, the Accursed.
Yeah, apparently we're supposed to, or else we are no longer Marvel comic book fans.
No, your Hall H privileges at Comic-Con are suspended.
Yeah.
I bet he's a
Uh-oh.
better character.
Darn it.
He's a what?
I bet he's a newer character.
Probably.
Probably, yeah, it makes sense that it would be, so.
Onto another Marvel franchise. Guardians of the Galaxy will actually now be rewritten by a guy named Chris McCoy, who's done a bunch of stuff.
Rewritten? Has it been written yet?
Yeah, apparently it's been
Isn't
written.
this the one that
and-
had a director, and then the director left, and then they had to get another director. Now they're getting a new writer.
Yeah, but
Their get-go is not going.
Development
the
hell.
significance of this is that they will keep the cast, which includes Drax the Destroyer, the human resurrected as the Green Warrior with the sole purpose of killing Thanos, who, if you don't know, is the guy who they showed at the end of the Avengers.
Yeah, Thanos
Groot,
is pretty badass too.
Yeah, Groot, a giant tree man, not
Three-man.
Three man.
Star-Lord.
He's a giant three-man.
Sorry.
Actually, when I read that, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Who would be a three-man? Hey,
He's the Jolly Green Giant.
Yeah.
Groot.
he's essentially who he is. Yeah, he's a
Giant
giant.
three-man.
Star-Lord, a gun-toting, half-human, half-alien, intergalactic vigilante.
Excellent.
Rocket Raccoon, a genetically engineered animal with a knack for guns and explosives.
I've heard
and
things.
Gamora, the last survivor of her species, who was saved by Thanos to be his assassin, but now battles him.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Why?
Darn those women.
Why did they make a movie about a bunch of people going up against Thanos? When
Because Thanos
clearly,
is awesome.
clearly Avengers 2 is going to be a bunch of guys going up against Thanos.
Well, I
This
mean,
is
usually when they do those,
Galaxy, man.
when they do those foreshadowing teasers, they don't necessarily appear in the next sequel to that movie, right? It appears in the next Marvel film. or something similar to that.
I have no idea what the standard is on that, but I'm really excited for Thanos.
I think that, well, yeah, obviously. I think that if they didn't put Thanos in Avengers 2, there would be mass riots.
Well, maybe they'll have a cameo. Haven't they? They're still writing it, right? He hasn't finished writing it, the Mr. Whedon.
He hasn't even started yet.
Yeah. So if this one's already been, well, it seems like they're writing it a couple times. So we'll see how it goes.
Right.
I was wrong. Malekith the Accursed is as old as I am.
No.
Aw.
His first appearance was in June 1984.
I mean, we never really paid too much attention to Thor, though. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Poor Thor.
But the
We're
thing
ignoring you.
about these films is that like they always do that. They're
They'll find some way to connect together.
And there's also a rumor that I don't know. They kind of downplayed it, but there was a rumor that Marvel was looking to trade Galactus with Fox for Fox to strengthen, or not strengthen, but to lengthen the Daredevil franchise. But
We haven't seen Daredevil for how long now?
over 5.
I think it's
Yeah,
a
you
little
think
bit,
you think by this time the property will be back with Marvel.
Apparently, if they don't in the next year or two, it will. But I think apparently there was a rumor that Marvel was going to try and deal with them and say, "Hey, you can have more Daredevil, but you give us Galactus." And
I'd say no, man. We want Galactus. Sorry.
Nobody liked Galactus as a giant cloud.
yeah,
No, but they can rewrite him as something else, right?
nobody wanted Galactus as a cloud.
No one wants him as a cloud. Yes, put him back in in a person. Maybe he you can find some way to make it work. Come on, man. It's Galactus.
But it was.
I don't
Devil.
have a lot of hope for this Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yeah.
Mainly because one of the characters is a raccoon.
I've heard good thing about Rocket Raccoon. I haven't read anything, but hey.
Apparently he's a very popular comic book character, but I don't know. I can't see this.
Like the comic, he'll be awesome.
Just stupid.
What's more awesome about than a raccoon that's genetically engineered that fights with guns and knives and explosives? It's awesome, man.
Does he at least have a rocket? That's the question.
I think he's got a jetpack. But I like the older Guardians of the Galaxy with Quasar and Adam Warlock and all the from the 80s. So I'm an old school comic book character person.
I need to read all of that stuff still. So all I know is I've heard good things about Rocket Raccoon.
Right.
I'm like, this will be awesome. A masked Avenger as a raccoon. Woohoo!
Well, you have 2 years to wait for this movie. It'll be out in August 2014.
Darn it.
So
Because they write it well.
yeah, why not? Okay, so let's see here. Ghostbusters 3 is getting a new writer. And we'll get a new generation cast. So Dan Aykroyd has finally
But
fessed up that
didn't
Bill
come
Murray
Yeah.
will not be in the movie. So they're going to carry on and put a whole bunch of new people in the movie.
I mean, they've been trying to make this movie for almost
Long time.
20 years.
20 years, yeah.
There's a point where you just say, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the point that they got to is that it's not going to happen because Bill Murray's not going to come back. So we're not going to have a Venkman. So let's do a new generation.
If they want Bill Murray to be in it, then they should get, what's his name, to direct it, Wes Anderson.
Is that the only reason why he's not doing it?
He only does Wes Anderson movies anymore.
Bill Murray only does Wes Anderson movies. Or
Oh.
just cameos in movies like Zombieland.
Zombieland.
Yeah,
He was good.
essentially all of Bill Murray's movies in the past several years was either Wes Anderson movies and Wes Anderson movies.
Yeah.
And one
And
with
Wes-
Sofia Coppola, which was in the early
Yeah.
2000s.
Oh, Lost in Translation. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was like early 2000s. Yeah, this was a long time.
That was before he actually made the standard. Is I'm only going to do Wes Anderson movies now.
And it's not to say that his Wes Anderson movies are bad. It's just that's the only thing he does anymore. He
think
probably
he just-
finds it to be real easy to do.
Wes Anderson must own a piece of his soul then for him to keep on doing that.
Well, actually, everybody wants to work with Wes Anderson. Like everyone.
Yeah, I
Edward
can see
Norton
that.
apparently like begged him to be in that movie.
So
new movie
owns
for United
everybody's
Kingdom.
soul.
Yeah, apparently he's like a really good director, and everybody really loves the way he directs and his style and everything. And his movies are really good. They
Yeah.
definitely like got that quirky feel to it, and they're definitely different. And then his next movie, Johnny Depp's going to be in it, and all these other people. So Wes Anderson.
So everybody's standing in line with Wes Anderson. So.
Exactly. Essentially, that's something money can't buy. Only a soul written on a piece of paper. So apparently, we were talking about Expendables 2 coming out this weekend. The producer, Avi Lerner, already has said that he's planning on recruiting some new old folks for Expendables 3. Not old, but, up there. Nicolas Cage.
He ain't old.
And up there, Clint Eastwood.
Now he's old.
As well as Harrison Ford.
He's old too.
Yeah, and possibly Wesley Snipes,
who is half old.
tax evasion convict. So
I can't imagine that Clint Eastwood would do anything more than a cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's actually
But it will be an awesome cameo. He'll come out with a gun, say, "All right, let's go kill these guys."
Right? Not even that. It's like everyone else in the movies are like straight action movie people.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Clint Eastwood, I mean, he's never been like an action character. I mean, a lot of his like Dirty Harry is not an
Dirty
action
Harry.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Just
like a
goes
cop
around blowing
movie.
people away with the Smith and
Yeah.
Wesson. Yeah.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
West. I mean, it's a western, but I don't know. It's actually kind of long and drawn out, that movie. I never really.
Yeah.
I just never. I mean, but beyond all that, I don't know. Nicolas Cage, I could see doing it because he really needs the cash. Clint Eastwood, like I said, I can't see more than a cameo. Harrison Ford, I don't know that he would do it.
Just the cameo.
Yeah, maybe if that.
Pay him a lot
Wesley
of money.
Snipes.
Hey, it'll be an easy one, right?
Wesley Snipes, after being fined for all the tax evasion stuff, I'm sure he's going to need some cash. So.
I think that there are other people that they could probably use.
Oh man, poor
they're
Wesley
just not
Snipes.
thinking of yet. I don't know.
You got to think of some old people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jackie Chan, they could probably do.
That guy's got he's
but
he's always busy though. He's got so much stuff to do.
It'll keep him in shape.
He doesn't do movies, but he has his own like really like expansive pop production company in Hong Kong. He does a lot of movies and like a lot of the new generation stars in Hong Kong. They're all under his contracts, so he runs that production company, and then a lot of like singing and all that stuff. So he's that's what he's busy with mainly, and of course Rush Hour 5.
But if he wants to be relevant in the United States again,
Yeah,
he'll
that's
do
true.
Expendables 3.
That would be kind of awesome. Give him a flagpole with tons of lights on it.
A flagpole with tons of lights.
Just slide down that sucker.
Burn the hell out of his hands and it's smacked.
Oh.
I rewatched that scene from Police Story, by the way. There is not a pane of glass that's not broken in that scene.
There's not a pane of glass that wasn't in his face.
Well, just like, I mean, they have like mirrors hanging on the wall, and he's like punching them for no reason. It's like, what the hell? Like, let's just break glass. Every piece of glass in his mall has to get broken.
It's because he was young and crazy. That's what it was.
It's such a good movie, though.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, definitely watch the Police Story series. Actually, I think that's definitely a good series to watch.
Definitely Police Story 1.
Yeah,
it's the best.
2 was pretty good too, as well.
Super Cop.
Super Cop was 3.
Oh, okay.
And then 4 was the new Police Story.
4 was the newer one, yeah.
Which was essentially Jackie Chan and all the new kids from his production company. Is essentially what New Police Story was. All right, so on to some television. I'm not going to talk about that. Let's forget about that. John, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. Amy, of course, did some time, and she went on the holidays. And
yeah, I kind of did.
He didn't get to see any of it, but
Arrested Development?
No, well,
Sorry, I was
we're
looking
gonna
at the
talk
notes.
about.
You missed Arrested Development because you were on vacation?
No, she didn't miss it. Okay, so Arrested Development is in the show notes.
Yes, it is in
So
the
what
notes.
we
I thought
should
this was
say is
better.
that it started filming, and
Good.
everybody will most likely, everybody is back. Is essentially what's happening. Everybody is back for Arrested Development. So all the people that you know and love from that series is back, and will be on Netflix next summer. So.
Cool.
I still have the same feeling
I
that I
haven't
had
watched it.
6 months ago. Is in that I feel like it's better it's better in everyone's mind not being made
Right.
than it being made and everyone seeing it and being disappointed.
Right.
Not that it would be disappointing, but it won't live up to whatever you were thinking it is going to be.
No, you're right, because it's similar. Like, I actually just started watching Firefly again. I hadn't seen it for a couple of years. So I was like, why not watch it? And it is the 10th anniversary this year. It is out.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go back and watch that now. Thank you. I
It
need to
was
fill
10
something in my space now that Mad Men's finished.
Yeah, this year is the 10th year after it was yanked off the air by Fox after 17 episodes.
No.
And if you think about it, the movie came out and it was awesome and everything. But if they came back and tried to do another movie or run those plot lines that they were talking about, nobody's gonna like it.
It
But
wouldn't be the same.
everyone who liked Firefly would love to see that in their mind.
Right.
But
Well, in my mind,
being-
I'm still upset at Firefly for making Dark Angel get off the air because that's what they replaced it with.
Wait, they replaced Firefly with Dark Angel or the other way around?
Firefly replaced Dark Angel.
Was it?
Well,
oh no, that was a James Cameron series.
Yeah, that was a James
I don't
Cameron
think
one.
Dark Angel is really going to make it too long, regardless.
I know, but still, I liked it. I wanted to see what they were going to do in the end. They left it hanging. Gosh darn it.
Hey, they left,
And then Firefly had to be so good that I had to love it too. So I was
And
like,
then he
dang it.
Dark Angel got a job in a morgue
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
calling.
they exactly. And then they had to. Well, they also
Sarah.
left Terminator. Sarah Connor.
Yeah, they
was
left that one hanging too.
With that
Well, that was a
ridiculous end.
cliffhanger they ended on.
What's that?
Wasn't it a cliffhanger they ended it on?
It was.
I think they did, and
They-
then I never watched the end of it, so I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, spoiler alert! They went
I never watched it.
crazily into the future. Crazily into the future, and then it just ended. And that was it.
Oh,
And they
man, that
canceled it.
sucks. All right, now you've perked my interest. I'll have to go get it now and watch it again.
You're like John, who watches the whole series and then you don't bother watching the series finale.
I don't want it to end.
Yeah, in my mind, it's still hanging on that one episode that I stopped watching it at. So I'm like going, okay, I can go back and watch
Still
it.
going on 12 years later.
Yeah, you mean the one where Brian Austin Green got his head shot, and you're just like, what just happened? And then it was over. That was definitely a surprise. But
Well,
anyway, yeah,
I'll probably, like in the next couple of months, I'll probably finish it up, and then you'll have this tweet that says, "I am disappointed,"
yeah.
and you'll be like, "Why? Because I saw the end of this.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait any longer. I finally watched it." And they're like,
Yeah.
"Where have you been? We've gotten over the rage already."
If
Last
they,
year,
and
Final
actually,
Fantasy-
they couldn't have continued the show. It would have been ridiculous. If they
No, just
continued
send
with
them
that
back.
plot
They got
line,
to have a
I wouldn't-
preview of the future, and now you send them back to where they were, and they go, "Oh my gosh, it's gonna
Yeah.
happen like that."
I would have
That would-
stopped watching the show most likely if they continue with that plot line. It wouldn't have made any sense.
Fringe did it.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
that's true.
Got you there, Pete.
That's true. But that was only half. That was only one episode.
What, Lost did it too?
That's not true. They didn't.
They kind of did. They jumped into the future. Yeah, actually, they jumped into the past. I take that back.
Yeah, they
Sorry.
went Back to the Future. in
They
the
went back to the
past.
future.
Wow. Okay. So, John, what did you think of the Olympics?
Well, as I alluded to earlier, I watched everything in like the first week
Right.
and didn't watch so much towards the end.
Did you catch it on prime time? Is that what you did? Did you get to watch the Bob Costas 5-hour surf?
Every
jerk or
time
what?
Bob Costas got on the screen, I changed the channel. Don't like him.
He is. I mean, they had other announcers, during the day. There was a week where I didn't go to work. I didn't have work.
Oh wow, you
And,
stayed home just for the Olympics.
No,
Whoa.
no, it was something completely separate. But I was home, and I decided why not watch it during the day. And those guys, it was Al Michaels, and there was another guy. I forget the other guy's name. But they were good. They weren't like, they weren't annoying like Bob Costas, because Bob Costas essentially just goes, well, he just went off the diving board. We'll get back to that in just a few. Now I'm going to interview someone and ask them inane questions.
The only reason, I mean, the when you're watching it in prime time, you need to have someone segue between events, because obviously you can't show everything at the same time.
Right.
But you could be like, so and so did this event earlier in the day, or Michael Phelps just won a gold. Now we're going to go to the track events where Usain Bolt is doing whatever, and it's like that's all you could do. You could have anyone in the world do that. Brian Gumbel.
That'd be awesome.
That was Michael Phelps. Here's Usain Bolt. It's like, okay, that's all you need. But you go to Bob Costas, and it's like he just talks too much.
He gives you speeches.
All he needs to do is segue, and he just can't do it.
And it was like, or the one where it was like when Michael Phelps, got fourth place in the 4x400. He was like, as you can see, Michael Phelps completely lost, not knowing what to feel after losing.
Well,
the 4x400.
I mean, it's supposed to be dramatic. That's the way a lot of people talk. There's a guy who does baseball on the weekend. He talks like that. This guy Ken Rosenthal, and I hate him too.
Stop talking so slow. It's like speak.
Yeah,
speak faster. Just speak like a regular human being, and we understand the gravity of situations. It's like you don't. Have to slow it down.
There were certain things about the broadcast that bothered me, and it wasn't that I know who won before it was on prime time. That doesn't bother me. I don't care about that. What bothered me is the main things I was watching were racing events, swimming races, and track races. And as soon as people were done running or swimming, they would get out of the pool and have a microphone in their face. It's like they're breathing heavily.
Yeah.
Trying to catch their breath.
To kind of, chill out.
Just can't relax, and they have to do a stupid interview, and it's like,
yeah. There's a lot of breathing.
Tell me how you feel right now.
A lot of breathing.
I can't even put.
I just swam 7 miles. Leave me alone.
Tell you,
it's like
what I think. Yeah.
Let them take a minute. Okay, do what you gotta do. You'll be the first one that I come to after I catch my breath, and you'll get the first interview. Just let me gather myself. And they just I understand the importance of being there first, but it's so you don't want to be there so first. It sounds stupid.
Right. Yeah, well, that's what happens. Sounds like.
Well, it's NBC, so
they got there so first that it sounds stupid.
Yeah, I feel like NBC is up until this year was EA and Madden, right? Where they're like, we got the exclusive rights for this. Nobody else can touch us. We're gonna do it our way.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they did this year, right? They did something new this year, which was all sports were streamed online, which we talked about a little while back. That if you had a cable subscription, then you could watch online. But the issue with online was, regardless of what video you were watching, you had to watch either a 30-minute or 1-minute commercial before the stream loaded, and then every 4 minutes you got another 30-second or minute commercial.
Are you kidding me?
I wonder if it's like that if you watched it and you didn't have cable.
Yeah,
I didn't watch it at all.
Pass.
There's a short answer to that.
It was a temporary viewing pass.
But
I was in Birmingham. I still didn't see it.
Right. I wonder if it would have been different, because you signed in as basically like a guest user, right, Pete?
Yeah, but I did see. I was looking it up on like message boards and Twitter and stuff like that, and people were complaining. They're like,
"Oh, okay.
I paid for cable, and you said I have to have cable to watch this, yet you're still giving me ads every 4 minutes."
You can't watch a YouTube video without ads anymore.
But at least you can skip them. This one you can't even stop.
After a couple seconds, you can skip them.
Like
I know, but they have to get their advertising. They can't just say, we're going to show it to you for free on the internet.
No, but, I mean, YouTube was like, if you're playing and you're like, okay, I'm playing this video, and the ad starts, I can stop the ad for now and come back later. But NBC won't let you do that. They won't let you pause the ad to come back later. You have to watch the whole ad. And it's
Well,
like,
I get that it's annoying, but you know, what are they going to? I mean,
no, I understand.
Not that they're crawling around for begging for money, but that's their advertising.
I understand. I understand what they're.
And the advertisers aren't going to say, "Oh, we'll make it so you can skip the video, and you could just we'll just pay you so people don't have to watch our commercials."
Right. But the thing I think a lot of people hated, got a lot of NBC got a lot of flack for was the opening ceremony where they cut certain countries out for commercials.
Oh.
They cut the tribute for the victims of the London tube bombing as well. And this was tape delayed. I mean, they could have probably cut something somewhere else or something maybe, but
Yeah, I mean,
cut countries was kind of messed up too.
I think every 4 minutes for a commercial is a little much. Maybe every 30 minutes, but every
Probably
4
every
minutes?
10. Usually
Even if you're
broadcasting
watching
is 10.
TV, it's at least every 10 to 15 minutes before you have a commercial break, at least. I know, because when I used to record stuff on the TV, that's what it usually was. It was every 8 to 12, maybe even as far as 15 minutes.
Right.
So it's like that's for every 4 minutes getting a commercial. How long was the commercial? 30 seconds?
Either 30 seconds or a minute, yeah.
But still, that's a lot. That's really a lot to
yeah.
throw in there.
As far as I mean, they have to pander to the audience as far as what they're broadcasting, and there are. I mean, I don't get not showing the tribute for the London tube bombings, but people were complaining that they couldn't see during prime time other countries compete.
Right. It was essentially like the only. They made that joke as well. It was like the only country that actually competed in the Olympics was USA.
Well, I mean, I never felt that way because, like I said, I was watching races. Obviously, you're not racing by yourself.
Right.
So, to me, I never felt like that. But if they had shown every single event by every single country, people would be like, "What the hell? Just show me, just show me United States, show me Italy, show me Ireland.
Right.
Show me the countries that I care about." Like, well, how the hell am I supposed to do that?
Right.
So they, obviously they're pandering to the United States public. So
yeah, but
that's who they're showing.
That's only a vocal minority, right? Like a lot of the majority would be like, "Yeah, of course I'm going to watch the USA. I don't know any of these other people. Like, why would I care?"
I didn't like the closing ceremonies at all. I don't know if anyone watched it but me.
I saw the Spice Girls.
I didn't watch anything, so go for it.
The beginning of it, they were like, it was very bizarre. It was like, the opening ceremonies is like, it's a big celebration of the culture of the country that's hosting it, and blah, 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 blah. And the closing ceremonies are like a party. And it was like this, it started and it was like this weird, like dance, like sequence that was like, oh, it signifies the traffic around Big Ben. And it's like, what the hell? This is not a party. And then they were like, everyone put your hands together for the 80s English band Madness and their hit song, Our House. And I'm like, sitting there, I'm like, what? Who wanted to see this band? And then it was like, oh, and here's the Pet Shop Boys with their hit song. It's like, what year is this? Is it 1983?
Yeah.
They're still living back then,
It kind of it's kind of similar to like the Super Bowl shows, when they try to combine like different genres and different things together or whatever.
It's all retro, right?
I find, and I'm sure that I'm in the vast minority, but I find the opening and closing ceremonies, the the absence of showing the countries and the athletes like walking around, I find that to be interesting. But the actual like ceremony part of it, I could do without. I don't understand it. Like, it's got nothing to do with sports. It's got nothing to do with anything. In my mind, like, I don't know why they had to do this big, like, this celebration of, this is the London culture, and it's like, okay, but you're skipping over child labor. Where's that party? Three. And enslaving the Irish. You didn't show that at all.
Well, that stuff they have to.
Ooh, yeah.
They have to. They have to.
Yeah, I mean, it's still your history.
They have to sweep some stuff under the rug. I mean, they're not going to talk about. I mean, if the Americans ever did that and said like they're not going to talk about how they tried to destroy the French like 250 years ago and they still lost. Like it's just not going to happen. Actually 200 years ago.
But I mean, you get. I mean,
old beasts die hard though.
Right. I just don't understand that it's like, oh, it's a big celebration of sport. It's not. It's a big celebration of the country, and it's like everyone knows what the United Kingdom is. It might okay.
So I think
it's
just to.
It's a big drawn out thing that it gets big ratings for the TV show, for the TV channel, and everyone likes to see it. But I sit there and I watch it, and I'm like, I don't care. Just show the people walking around, have them wave their flags. That's the most important part.
Right.
To me, is celebrating the athletes that get to compete.
Right.
And then the closing ceremony, it's like, okay, now we're going to close it and send it off to Rio, where the next Olympics is going to be. And it's like, all right, well, I don't care. I don't. By the end of the Olympics, I'm like, I don't care anymore.
I actually stopped watching in the second week as well. I just got to the point where I was like, all right, well, that's enough out of that.
Yeah.
I just saw snippets like between like flying and being in Birmingham and coming back and being in like the airport somewhere where they had it playing. I saw snippets. I thought, oh, that's right. The Olympics is going on. Maybe I should watch some of that. And now it's over with. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I missed it.
I mean, if you were ever in your hotel in Birmingham, I heard that BBC like outdid themselves in terms of coverage.
Yeah, it did look like they were, like there was a lot of coverage. It did look like there was some really good coverage, but I wasn't really paying attention, so I had other things on my mind. I'm sorry.
I heard that the BBC did the same thing that NBC did, where they only showed UK athletes performing.
Right, but they had but obviously, unlike the States, everybody pays their fair share for TV. There in terms of broadcast. So they did BBC had their 90 billion channels. They had BBC Moms, and they were also showing Olympics.
I find it amazing that NBC broke even.
Well, this is because they have they should get somebody high profile to comment on all of the stuff, Ryan Seacrest or something.
Oh, he was on there.
He was on there. Wait, are you being serious or are you just kidding, Amy?
No, I am being serious. Was he?
Yes,
one
was
of the.
all over
he was.
The place.
He was
oh
on
my
there.
gosh! Dang, man, I missed it.
That's awesome.
I would have watched it if it was that.
Yeah, he was.
Darn.
Apparently, he got really good marks in terms of what he did. He wasn't the kind of guy. He wasn't cutting in and narrating stuff. He was doing special reports. He was interviewing.
I call that Bob Costa thing.
That's what he does. He does a really good job at that.
Yeah,
darn. They should have used him more then.
They use him a lot.
I only knew that he was there during the closing ceremonies when they were talking about the obscure 80s bands that they were using.
Well, how about obscure? Well, not obscure, but the Spice Girls obviously are back.
I had turned it off way before the Spice Girls were on.
But it was weird because right after the Spice Girls, who were on the top of taxi cabs, drove around, and then they finished their one song, and then Beady Eyes came on, which is essentially Oasis minus
Liam or Noel?
Nicholas Gallagher or
Liam?
No, which one's the other brother?
Noel
Gallagher. It's essentially Oasis minus Noel Gallagher, and they played Wonderwall, and it was like, this is weird.
Okay. Why go by a different name then?
I don't know.
They're trying to, put a new stamp on, let's get popular again. We got to make a new brand name for us.
Oasis is essentially what's happening.
I mean, I get so burned out by the Olympics. I like to see the swimming, and I like to see the different track racing, the short races, the
Yeah.
the 100 meter and the 200 meters. But other than that, I can't watch kayak, equestrian. They're making golf an Olympic sport in 2016.
Wonderful.
Like,
See, I usually watch
don't
more of
get
the
it.
winter sports than the summer ones, to be honest, as well.
So do I.
Yeah.
I watch more variety during the Winter Olympics, but I'm more interested in summer swimming.
Right.
I don't understand why team sports are part of the Olympics.
Because it's always good to do it as a team. The moral support.
Yeah, no, but okay, but soccer has their world competition already.
True.
So does tennis. They play.
Well, actually,
everyone
weeks
from
before
what?
the Olympics was Wimbledon.
Yeah, but they're always playing each other throughout the year.
Right.
All the same people that were competing for the gold medals.
At least 4
I mean,
times.
it's just.
Yeah.
And they're going to do it with golf too. It's like the same people you just watched do the Masters are now going to be playing in Rio de Janeiro.
All right. Well.
Please let me be the head of the IOC.
All right. Well, that was the Olympics are over, folks. You can go back to your regularly scheduled program.
Yeah. Do you know that Grimm is premiering tonight?
Is it?
That's
Oh,
right.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was later than that.
I was very surprised because that was a decent show, right? I mean, it did decent in the ratings.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't see any of it, but
I'm
I did see
surprised.
a couple commercials. Like, oh, why am I not watching that?
I'm surprised it is starting so early. Yeah, apparently
They're
it's
trying to get, people
the
to watch
first
it.
episode is tonight.
Wow. We're in the middle of August. They're getting.
I heard
everything
a
earlier.
commercial on the radio.
Yeah, but everybody's back if they've got kids in school. There you go.
Not a lot of schools in the East Coast have started school yet.
Oh, they haven't? A lot
What?
of people.
Later
Your
on.
kids are in school already?
Today is the first day of school here.
When did they get out? In May?
Yeah, they just started.
But when did they get out? May?
Yeah, in May.
Ah,
The end of May.
kind of jealous.
Like the 25th, 28th, something like
Serious?
that. Before Memorial Day.
If the first day of school is before
That's
my
what they
birthday,
do in out west. Yeah.
I would throw a fit every year.
I used to actually
That's-
like when they started school after Labor Day, but
Yeah.
now they do it like, it's 2 weeks early.
Don't you remember how haunted you were when you saw those stupid Staples back to school commercials? Where the dad would, have the freaking pencils and drop them in the cart like a D-bag and go around with a freaking pencil sharpener, and how those children looked and felt. Like, you just knew how they felt. It was just
Yeah, they're like, oh.
dread.
okay. Yeah.
Just, oh my God. And
Dad's like, yay! Yeah, that's me
Yeah.
right now.
gosh, it's so sad. So sad. But all right, well, good luck to the kids. Olympics are over, folks. Back to your scheduled programming.
Yep.
Fall TV is going to start very soon, and I'm
Start
sure
tonight.
we will. Yeah, apparently fall TV is starting now.
For some.
Yeah, for some. So
If you like Grimm, you're missing it.
yeah,
Or you missed it
Stop
yesterday.
the show. You gotta go watch it right now.
yeah. So I guess we will definitely probably talk about that. sometime.
Maybe next week.
So for this episode with John and Amy and Peter, which is me, remember to check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/ScreenViewShow, and yeah, we will see you guys next time.
Okay. So
All right.
You've been listening to ScreenView. ScreenView is a radio-free Cybertron production. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Watch our live stream at tfradio.net/live. Join our Facebook fan page at facebook.com/tfradio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, TF Radio Network. Have a question or comment? Leave it on our Facebook fan page or mail it to contact@tfradio.net. Copyright 2011, Radio Free Cybertron.